In this video, I'm going to show you the process for signing your app to get it ready for putting it on the Google Play Android App Store. Please note two things. Firstly, you will need to be a paid member of the Google Play Developer Console in order to get your app on the Google Play Store, and that costs $25 a year. And secondly, the instructions that I'm about to show you do update quite regularly, so please consider this a general guide, and you might have to do a little bit of Googling to get everything working in your particular setup. Having said that, we'll cover all of the main principles, and the process, once you know what's going on, is not too complicated. So I'm going to be following along with the PhoneGap build guide, which you can get by searching for something like PhoneGap build Android signing. That's what we want to do. We want to sign our apps to use for Android, and that first result there is what I want. So you should be on a page that looks like this. And the main thing that we want to do here is generate a private key, which essentially proves ownership of the app to us and is a prerequisite for putting the app on Google Play. So step one there, as you can see, download and install Java. So you may well have Java installed. I don't at the moment. So I'm going to agree and start the download. It's exactly the same process, by the way, on Windows. And then I'm going to open up that file that's downloaded. And on my system here, I have to double click on that icon, put in my password, and then just click through the setup steps. And there we go. Continue and close. Note that we can't test Java on Chrome, but we've completed the installation process, so hopefully we should be fine. Then we need to set the Java home directory. So follow the instructions here. There's two sets of instructions, one for Unix systems and one for Windows systems. I'm on a Mac here, so I'm going to click that first link to download the Java JDK, which is the Java Development Kit, which is slightly different to the version of Java that we just downloaded, but both are needed in this case. So I would download that first option there. And then you'll need to accept the license agreement and then choose your operating system. So if you're on OS X, then you'll click that one. If you're on Windows, if you've got a 32-bit machine, then you want the x86 version. And if you're on a 64-bit machine, you'll want the Windows x64 version. If you're not sure whether you're on 32-bit or 64-bit Windows, then just open Windows Explorer and right-click on the computer icon and then click Properties. Then click the System tab, and that will tell you whether you're on 64 or 32-bit Windows. If you really can't find out, then go for the 32-bit version because that will work on both 32 and 64-bit systems. Now, I already have this installed, so I'm not going to go through this process, but again, it is just a matter of downloading it and then clicking through the installation windows. And then you need to set the Java home directory. So if you're on a Mac, you need to do Command Space to open up Spotlight and then Terminal to open up a terminal window. And then you use these commands here. So export Java home equals, and then you put the directory where it's installed. So it's probably that one or something very similar to it. And you set that to your Java home variable. I'm not going to do that because I've already set this up. And then you use that second line to set up the Java home path. On Windows, you do it slightly differently. You right-click My Computer and select Properties. And then on the Advanced tab, you select Environment Variables and then edit Java home to point to wherever you installed the JDK, which will probably be something like that. All right. Now it's time to generate our key. So on a Mac, go back to the terminal window. On Windows, you'll need to open a command prompt, which you do this by clicking the Start button and then typing CMD. That's CMD in the box that appears, short for command, and that will get you something that looks very similar to this, but in fact looks a little bit more like that. All right, don't worry, we're nearly there. Then you copy this command, not including the string part at the beginning, and paste that into either your terminal window or your command prompt, depending on whether you're on Mac or Windows. And then we just need to change these variables here. So I'll just put something fairly generic. So my alias name for the alias, and then jumping through, and then keystore name dot keystore for the keystore name. If you were going to call your app something like email app, you might call this email app keystore and email app alias or something like that. Then you press enter and it will ask you for a password. So I'd put in a nice secure one there. I'm just going to put in something fairly simple for now. And then you put in details about yourself. It doesn't matter too much what the answers to these questions are, but you should be able to repeat them later on, so keep them noted down somewhere. If you need to, then just type yes, and it will generate the key store for you, and you can enter a new password for this particular alias if you want to. I'm just going to leave it the same, so I'm going to enter. And there we go. So that's now stored the key store for me. So heading down here, you can see we're now ready to submit our key to PhoneGap Build. So let's jump back over there, and we're going to need to click Signing Keys. So let's go to the drop down at the top and then Edit Account, and then Signing Keys, and we want to add a key for Android, and the title can be whatever you like, so email app key, and the alias I'd recommend having the same as the alias that you chose, so my alias name. And then we're going to choose File to upload our keystore file. If you're on a Mac, you can go to Desktop and then click Command Up to get to your root directory, which is likely where the keystore is saved, unless you saved it somewhere specific. On Windows, it will be saved in whatever directory you had open when you started the command tool. So in this case, it would be C drive /users/emir/desktop/tmp. But go back and check in your command window if you weren't sure what that was. So then going back over here, we'll choose File again, and we have to go back there again. So from the desktop, back up, Command Up, and then keystore name.keystore, and then submit key, and that's done. And then looking down at the options here, we then need to unlock our key to prove that we own it. So we can do that clicking the lock there, and then putting the password in that we entered when we created the key, and then submit. And if you get that right, it should turn into a little unlocked padlock symbol. So now we can go back over to our apps, or just the one app, and click on Android, and then we can click on the email client name, and then we can, on the Android version, choose the key that we've just unlocked, and then it will just verify that everything's okay. And if it is, then we'll be able to download a version of the app which is signed with that particular key. And there we go, looking good. So then we just download the APK as we did before. Brilliant. And you'll notice that when it's downloaded, it's got the release name in here. So this is a version of the app that we could put on the Google Play Store. Okay, so now we have our APK. we're no longer doing anything specifically with PhoneGap Build. We just want to submit our app to Google Play. So we can search for instructions to do that. That launch checklist is very useful because you'll need to do a lot of checking and debugging to make sure your app works properly on different devices, as well as having things like icon images and launch images ready. But we're going to jump straight to the Google Play Developer Console. And here is where we can add a new application. Note that if you don't have an active Google Play Publisher account, you'll be prompted to pay the $25 to get one. And here you just put in the title of your app. So email app by Rob. And we'll start with uploading the APK. So here we go. Upload your first APK to production. Exciting stuff. And then let's browse. And there it is, the APK file release version. So then it will upload that and verify all of the keys and make sure that it's a valid APK that can go on Google Play. Ah, yes, and there is something I've forgotten here. We do need to put a package name in, but we can do that pretty easily. We just go back to PhoneGap Build and click Settings, and then scroll down. We can put in a custom icon file here as well, which would definitely be a good idea if you're releasing a real app. And then here is where we put the package name. And this is usually something like com dot and then your company name or your name. So I'm going to go for CodeStars and then the app name. So email client by Rob. So it's like the reverse of a web address. Starts with com, then has company name or your name, and then the package name, and should all be lowercase and shouldn't include any strange characters. And I'll call it version 1.0 as well. And I'll just pop something in the description. Your description, of course, should be more detailed than that. There we go. And then we'll save that. And it will produce a new version which we'll be able to download, and then we'll reattempt the APK upload, and with any luck it'll work this time. And there we go. So let's now download the APK again. So same but with a 1 after it, and we'll now go back to Google Play, upload another APK, choose the version that we've just downloaded, open that, keep your fingers crossed, and there we go. So that's now uploaded our APK. The rest of the process is a pretty standard form filling in process where we put in the title, description, full description, screenshots, icons, all of this sort of stuff, which of course you will need for any app that you want to release. But I'll leave that to you. I hope you've been able to follow that process along, and that your head is buzzing with ideas of Android apps that you could release using HTML, JavaScript, and PhoneGap Build. In the next video then, we'll see how to do the same thing for iOS.